Project Cars. Netflix has a bunch of Gears of War stuff. Disco Elysium developers fight. And Miyamoto acknowledges that it's easier than ever for backwards compatibility. Extra, hear all about it.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast where we could make a joke about, technology not working and computers sucking, but it's kind of been played out on this podcast numerous times already. I'm the Dean of Games, the Dean Slater, if you're on Twitter or Twitch, and joining me is twitch.tv/LMJ the Hitman Landen.
Let's go! Video games and news in one place. Where else are you going to find it? Everywhere else, don't listen to me. Let's go. I'm ready for today, and I'm hyped, and I've got a Mountain Dew right next to me, and that's probably why I'm so hyped.
Woo! Yeah. I have an empty Mountain Dew next to me that was from a couple of days ago because I haven't been in my office for a minute.
Yeah, I got the Mountain Dew Energy, the Code Red one.
Yeah.
Those tall cans, they're delicious, dude. I love them.
Yeah. As far as Gavin is still relatively new.
He's in the graveyard.
Indiana. Yeah, he's in the graveyard. He's in the graveyard because as people from Indiana can attest, you can't walk 6 feet without falling into a well. And he hasn't really learned how to navigate around all these wells yet, so.
Wells everywhere.
Everywhere. Just.
You wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Just
You think it's all cornfields and just plain fields, but no, it's all
wells and wells and wells.
Absolutely. This is Extra, your weekly gaming news podcast covering the news leading up to Sunday, November 13th, 2022. And if you like us, you can go to patreon.com/thebriefingroom. We just did a fantastic editorial where I talk about a certain company hiring the Yakuza to kidnap someone from another company. So maybe check that out. So I actually don't have a docket prepared right now. So let's go to EA, where they have ended the Project Cars series. And then the Slightly Mad Studio staff will be placed on other EA racing titles where possible. This comes from a statement made to GameIndustry.biz. Slightly Mad was acquired by Codemasters in 2019 for $30 million. And as part of the deal, Codemasters retained the rights to the Project Cars IP. Codemasters was then acquired by EA in 2021, giving EA the rights to Codemasters IP, including Project Cars. Following an evaluation of Project Cars titles and its long-term growth potential, we have made the decision to stop further development and investment for the franchise, is what EA's statement reads. Games are at the heart of sports and racing entertainment. With shifting fan expectations, we recognize the need to evolve our games beyond pure play, providing experiences for fans to watch, create, and connect with friends. The last Project Cars was released in 2015. The original, was released in 2015. Project Cars 2 was released in 2017. And then Project Cars 3 was not as well received as the previous two when it was released in 2020. I actually don't remember Project Cars 3 coming out.
Me
That
either.
tells
I
me
do
anything.
remember Project Cars 1 making waves, and then I remember Project Cars 2 kind of like just tweaking and fixing a lot of the minute things in the first one, and people really liking the second one. I'm assuming it just had a very loud fan base, but not a large fan base, knowing
Yeah.
EA.
I will mention, because this article mentions it too, which kind of sucks. The digital versions of Project Cars 1 and 2 were delisted due to expired car and track licenses.
Oof.
So, unless you have the physical versions of those games, the only one you can play is the not well received third game.
That's
So,
unfortunate. That is unfortunate. But hopefully they'll lean more into a different car game, like actually good Need for Speed. That'd be cool.
yeah.
EA do it? Probably not. They don't listen. I take that back. They got Skate coming out, so even though it's free to play, they somewhat listen.
Yeah.
I take that back.
Yeah, EA's definitely improved. I'm not gonna say that they're not still a scummy company, but they've definitely improved over the last 4-ish years.
Yes.
So, like, now it's crazy. They went from being considered the scum of the video game industry to, now, people are like, oh yeah, EA, that's pretty cool. And then now it's Activision Blizzard that's the scum of the gaming industry.
Yeah. No, I mean they flipped. It used to be a whole different vibe from them back in
Yeah.
the day.
So what the Project Cars people should do, they should get together and create a coalition. Speaking of coalition, Netflix has announced a live-action Gears of War film and animated series.
Let's go!
I knew you were going to be excited about that. Sure, you have
my
a lot
gosh,
to say,
there's so
too.
much good Gears of War news. Oh, we've been lacking. Gears 5 was in 2020. I ain't heard nothing about nothing. Let's go. And I knew the Batista wanted in on this, and they said, no, that's okay, as long as we're getting something.
Yeah, but I mean, it's crazy to me that they said no to Batista because, like, Batista, was, in Gears 5. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
it's not like they don't have a working relationship with him.
I just don't. Yeah, I agree.
But let's see. The news was revealed on Monday to coincide with the 16th anniversary of the franchise launch. 16.
Whew, I'm old.
Yeah. They put out what
There's Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, Judgment, 4 and 5, Tactics.
Yeah.
And there's technically Gears Pop on the mobile for a little bit there, but it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. But yeah,
Gears Tactics, not that bad. I never
there-
finished it. I'm going to. I just ordered it on Amazon for a physical copy because I'm that big of a Gears of War freak.
Yeah. They I mean, that's pretty good clip. And, obviously some of those are deals that they made with other companies to do spin-offs, but I mean, that's still like 2 games, a game every 2 years or whatever. So that's a pretty good clip for the game industry. So according to Microsoft, Gears of War has sold over 22 million units and grossed over $1 billion since they purchased it from Epic Games. Man, could you imagine if Epic had found a way of keeping Gears, like what that would look like now with, all the other stuff they do?
Yeah. I really can't even imagine.
They've the Coalition is transitioning to next-gen development on Unreal 5. But yeah, so I do know it's not in this particular article that I have pulled up, but I do know that they were really emphasizing the animated series was going to be adult, which I'm sure is more or less because of like the blood and gore that's going to be involved, and less about potential soft core porn in the
Right.
franchise. But yeah, that's exciting. I think honestly, a lot of times I'm like, man, a video game adaptation would work better as a TV show. I think yours probably could work pretty well as a live action film.
I think live action film would be phenomenal, and I think if they're going to do anything that's series based, animation is for sure the right way to go,
Yeah.
because you can't do low budget chainsaw gruesome stuff. But I mean, to be able to make an animation, they can get as gruesome as they want.
Mhm.
So please, 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 please.
I honestly, I've done my research on animation myself, and I feel like, as far as public perception, and I feel like public perception is that it's inferior to live action, just based on the way general public treats it. Like the Academy Awards, rather than just giving Pixar movies the best film of the year or whatever, because there for a while, like early Pixar was putting out movies that were above and beyond even what live action movies were doing, but they never got the award. So people started complaining about that. You know what the Academy Awards did? They're like, all right, we're going to create a new award, Best Animated Film of the Year. And it's like, why does it have to be a separate category? I think there is this public perception that it's inferior. But yeah, I think that they could do a lot more with an animated series than the live action series. But yeah, like I just recently went back through and replayed the original Gears of War game on stream. And really, I beat it in like 6 hours. Like, it's not that long of a game. And a lot of that stuff you probably could trim down into a nice, like, 3-hour film, like, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Did you play the Ultimate Edition or the original Gears?
It was the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good on that version of it. But yeah, I'm actually listening the audiobook that Cliff Bleszinski just released. He just had a book come out, and the creator of Gears of War and also the creator of Unreal Tournament and Unreal, all the Unreal games really. Worked for Epic Games for a while. Also created Fortnite on a little tidbit there. But he did not create the Battle Royale. He just created that dumbass survival mode that nobody
PvE.
plays. Yeah.
That was, honestly, I'll be honest, that was the PvE mode is what I was interested in. And then they're like, no, we're gonna move on to this. Because I was like, oh, it's kind of like Minecraft, but different. In like a good way. And then they're like, no, we're gonna make it, Battle Royale. And it's like, I'm out. I'll never be good enough to play a Battle Royale, let alone a Battle Royale where you have to build. Now they finally have a no-build mode, but that doesn't change the fact I'm still ass at shooting.
Right. Well, active reloads all day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love the active reload system in Gears of War. And actually, it's funny. I went from Gears of War to Guardians of the Galaxy, which has its own kind of version of an active reload, where when you shoot too much, there's like a cooldown meter, but there's a little spot on the cooldown meter where if you hit it, you do like this, special shot that does more damage. I was like, oh, I'm already used to this. But yeah, I'm excited. Like, I know Gears is your favorite video game franchise. Um, I'm not as hot on it, but I still really like the Gears franchise. I just like the dystopian feel of it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
There's some
A whole
games.
different world, and I like
Yeah.
the bleakness and the lack of
Mhm.
color and the brothers in arms, the band of brothers, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's some games that try to be, gritty and gory just to be gritty and gory. And that might be what the original intention with Gears was, but they made it work with the world. It doesn't feel out of place. It's like, oh yeah, this is something. I'm glad after I will say playing the original Gears again, I'm like, man, I'm glad they no longer had stuff with those bat things where they would just kill you if you're in the dark. They got away from that. Not great.
Excited for the future of the franchise, though.
Yeah. Ah, this story. Ousted Disco Elysium developers look set for court battle with studio owners. Key creators of the detective RPG alleged they were defrauded and ousted from the company studio Zaum, while the studio's owners claim they were let go due to misconduct. We think it's time people know what transpired at the company. As soon as Zaum became majority shareholders, we were quickly excluded from daily operations. Our employment was terminated, and our access to company's information were shut off. Our firing came weeks after we began asking for documents and financial data, which is still being kept from us. We now have learned that must have obtained control over Zaum's studio by fraud. We believe the money used by blah blah blah. I'm not even gonna start to pronounce.
Dude, I completely understand. I'm so bad with names, dude. I'm literally the worst.
Yeah, to buy the majority stake was illegally taken from itself, money that belonged to the studio and all shareholders, but was used for the benefit of one. Money that should have gone towards making the sequel. And then in a statement issued to GameIndustry.biz again. By the way, GameIndustry.biz, phenomenal resource if you want to look into gaming news. Like, they do have quite a bit of good stuff over there. Zaum denied accusations of fraud and said that several employees had been dismissed due to egregious misconduct. While we are confident that Zaum will prevail in court once all the facts are heard, we believe it is necessary to address baseless claims and falsehood, if only to rightly defend Zaum and protect our employees. The rumor that our decision to terminate the contracts of these individuals is taken for financial gain is entirely unfounded and does not in any way reflect facts. It was a decision that had to be taken for the well-being of the collective. Further, Zaum denies any claims of financial malfeasance or fraud that is being held against us. The vast majority of profits from Disco Elysium have been invested back into the studio to fund our next projects, which are currently in development. It is said that the employees in question were dismissed for neglecting their responsibilities, including not working at all for almost 2 years, while still being paid by the studio. They were also accused of creating a toxic work environment, misconduct in interacting with other colleagues that include verbal abuse and gender discrimination, and attempts to illegally sell other gaming companies and intellectual properties. So, that's what's been going on. Landen's internet actually went down, so I'm going to be vamping while he gets back up. So, man, this battle reminds me of what's also going on with the guy who made the music for Doom Eternal and id Software. Like, it's one of those things where you don't know. Like, regardless, all these parties are positioning themselves to to look good, right? They are all positioning to look good. And we won't actually find out what happens until the court case and everything, because no manner of posturing in the world is going to help you in court, because there's going to be the actual facts. This whole thing is weird for me, because we have employees. Normally I go with the victims, right? Normally I'll side with the victims until it's found out that the victims weren't actually victims, like with the Helena Taylor thing. But in this case, I don't know who the victims are. Are the victims, in fact, the other employees of the studio? Or are the victims these creators that are calling out Zoom? I just don't know. Sorry, I literally just woke up. So I'm still trying to get it all together. You back?
Yep, I'm back. Continue. Jesus. Podcast is the worst.
Believe me, I understand. I've gone through the whole story. I'm sure you've already heard, through Kind of Funny, about this whole story. I was just talking about how, normally I'll side with the victims. But in this case, I don't know who the victims are. I don't know if the victims are, in fact, the other employees of the studio that were being mistreated by these creators, or if the creators are the victims because they were, cut off by an evil corporation. I don't know which side is actually the bad side. And I also compared it to the Doom Eternal composer and what's going on with him and id Software and stuff. So you can talk about your opinions now.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, what's the topic? Because I hopped in here.
Oh, it's the Disco Elysium developer.
Oh yeah, I heard of that. Yeah. I listened to them talk about that. Man, that's so unfortunate. I know what you mean by normally siding with the victim of the whole thing, but I don't. First of all, I'm not a fan of Disco Elysium. I'm sorry, unpopular opinion. Everybody I talk to seems to like that game. Not a fan. Really, you're not either?
I haven't played it, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I didn't get into it. I don't know why it had so much hype that it did, really. But
Did I lose you again? I think I lost you again. That's neat. Well, you heard his opinion. Disco Elysium is trash, and everything involved is just garbage. That's Landon's opinion. Uh, no further questions needed. Just having to talk about it was so bad that he had to leave entirely. Yeah, so he's gonna love hearing that when when he listens to this podcast back. Uh so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next story, and he can pop back in if his internet will let him and give his actual opinions without me speaking for him. Miyamoto acknowledges it's easier than ever to offer backwards compatibility, but the Nintendo director is non-committal on plans for future Nintendo hardware. This is part of a Q&A session following the publication of his financial reports. In the past, we provided a service known as the Virtual Console that allowed users to play older games on new consoles with newer hardware. As long as the hardware remained unchanged, those games could continue to be played. However, publishing rights to video games are complicated, and as we have said, we only would add titles after securing the necessary rights. Of course, video games developed for dedicated consoles were created in different development environments for each console. And as a result, the hardware changed. The development environment could not be necessarily reused. So the video games that had been released on older consoles could not be played on newer consoles without additional modifications. However, recently, the development environment has been increasingly become more standardized, and we now have an environment that allows players to enjoy video games on newer consoles more easily than before. I will say, side note, there was a great documentary on the Xbox called Powered On, and they talk about that. That's why the Xbox was created, to standardize development environments, because it used to be you had to program in several different languages for each console. You had to have a dev kit for each console, which I believe you still kind of do, but like you couldn't just make a game and put it out. You had to go through a whole process just to make the game on the different platforms and then release it. So like that's it's cool that it's more standardized than it used to be. And we do somewhat have Xbox to thank for that. Side note over. However, Nintendo's strength in creating new video game experiences, so when we release new hardware in the future, we would like to showcase unique video games that could not be created with pre-existing hardware. Nintendo stated that investment in the Switch's successor had contributed to a record annual research and development spend at the company, aka they're putting money into it. And last November, it said that it was still internally discussing the concept and launch timing for its next gaming console, aka they kind of already have it in the bag. They're just trying to figure out when would the best time be and what should it look like. There's been forecasts that their next console will release in 2024. Yeah. So, it's cool. Hopefully that means that they'll actually have more of a, a better way of having you play older games than before. Or than what they have on the Switch, what they had before. So, yeah. Let me go ahead and text Landen. Worry, I told the audience for um, so, yeah, anyway. That, I guess, is the show. That was a weird one. So, I guess we'll go on to the post show where I'll discuss what I've been playing and ending things. So, thank you for listening. I guess I have this whole outro I could do, don't I? This whole situation has got me flustered. All right. If you liked or didn't like this podcast, make sure to do all of the things like hitting the like button and hitting the subscribe button and ring ding 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 that bell on. Well, at the XofPlays on YouTube. I forgot we have a handle now. That's exciting. Or giving it a high rating on whatever podcast service you use so you can find like-minded people. Be sure to tell people about the show. Word of mouth is the best way to help us grow. And I brought it up before, but on patreon.com/thebriefingroom, you can financially support the show and get cool rewards as well. That's all from us. Take care.